Good morning, friends. Rise and shine. Today is a Thursday morning when I'm filming this, and I am off this week, so I actually have time to make a video in the morning, which is great. And this is quite different from what I generally make for my YouTube channel. I am still making long-form videos for my channel, and as many of you know, I usually base my contents off what I write. And the thing is, I do have an Instagram account though. I have had the account since last year. It's called Chinese Inside Out. Go and check it out. And I didn't really feel ready to use that account until now, which is really interesting because I feel like everything kind of happened step by step, organically. Initially, I just set up my website, didn't do anything about it until I started making my video, and then I started writing. So the thing is, very spontaneously, recently, I started feeling like it's about time to use my Instagram account. But what am I gonna put on it? The timing really played out really well for me though, because recently I just released the very first newsletter article about intuition. And then I'm gonna be writing about this topic for the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks. The thing about intuition is that we all have it, but a lot of us don't listen to it. And I thought, you know what? The best way to teach something is always to show it myself. So how am I gonna show intuition in practice? Well, that's probably the first thing that I'm gonna put on my Instagram account. And believe it or not, it's going to be very much something that nobody, probably you will never think that I do this, but I do read tarot cards. I flip it for you to see. So I do read tarot cards. And in a way, you can say that this is a practice of symbolic literacy, because the cards they're just cards, right? But the thing is, your subconscious, your mind, is what gets to interpret the cards and make meaning out of them. And this is something that I have been fascinated with for years. I would say that initially I was kind of intimidated by tarot cards because there are 78 of them, and there is a lot of rich symbology. Is that even a word? Symbology? I don't know. There's a lot of symbols, meaning of colors, traditional interpretations and modern interpretations about, how to do a tarot reading and everything. And the one approach that really resonated with me is what I discovered recently. It's called Dialogic Tarot. You can also check out Dialogic Tarot. They have their own Instagram account and a Substack. I love reading. I'm just gonna shuffle while we talk. I thought, just to show you how I use intuition in practice, I might as well just read some cards for you. And actually, I have already made a little 7-card spread because I was curious, right? How can the cards, using synchronicity and intuition, how can the cards tell me the overall message of each and every one of the newsletter articles I have written so far? I am going to be posting those on my Instagram account, Chinese Inside Out. Subscribe, because you don't want to miss that. For now though, I just shuffled the cards. I want to show you how I read. Perhaps, okay, the questions that I'm gonna ask would be, first of all, what is the purpose of my channel? What is the purpose of my YouTube channel? What is the better question to ask. Sorry, I have to go back and forth on this. The better question to ask is, what is the purpose of my content? That will be the first question. I'm gonna be pulling 2 cards. The second question is, what is the purpose of using tarot cards to accompany my content? All right, so 4-card read. The first question is, what is the purpose of my content? So 2 cards only. I hope I have another camera overhead, because if I have a camera overhead, you can probably see. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna take a photo of these and then put it in my video when I edit. All right. So I just pulled 2 cards. I pulled the Fool upright and 7 of Swords. They're both upright. And by the way, in tarot readings, when a card appears upright versus upside down, different kinds of interpretations. So now the second question is, what is the purpose of using tarot cards to accompany my content? 2-card read. Oop. Ah. Okay. So 10 of Swords upside down. So this is a reversed card. Oh, one at a time, please. So second card is 4 of Pentacles upside down. All right. Right, we're gonna do this. All right, so I just want to show you the 2 cards I pulled. This is the 10 of Swords upside down and 4 of Pentacles upside down. Okay, it's 2 reversed cards, very interesting. 2 upright cards and 2 reversed cards. Now let's start with the side on the Fool and 7 of Swords upright. What is the purpose of my content? I would say that if you look at the Fool, first of all, this is a major arcana card. Usually a major arcana card, when it appears, it means that the message is of a, I would not say a higher significance, but it has a more, almost like a threshold / transformative feel to it. Whereas the 7 of Swords, just to give you an example, this is not a major, this is a minor arcana. I can't pronounce that word for life. So when it's a minor arcana card, usually this is something that's, I would say it's a message that helps interpret the current situation, which means it's slightly less like a permanent major threshold. It's more like describing a current situation, a current state of being. The 2 cards are telling me that the purpose of my content is to help people step into a new territory, right? This is what the Fool is trying to tell us. Step into a new territory with an open mind, knowing that you're probably going to encounter stuff that you've never heard before, that you've never encountered. Maybe you're going to be encountering ideas that are very much foreign to you, which I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing with the whole Chinese and combining with modern philosophy, and now I'm putting it together with Western mystical practices, aka the tarot. And also it is inviting people to step into a new territory with an open mind, right? This is what the Fool is trying to tell us. I do feel like whatever I'm writing is trying to do something for the greater good. I don't really have any personal agenda on telling people what to think or how to view certain things, but it's rather introducing a brand new way of looking at things. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. With the 7 of Swords, what you see here is a figure who is almost like being strategic. He's looking back as if he doesn't want to let people to know that he's taking those swords with him, but he also left 2 swords behind. So it's like he cannot carry everything all at once. So what I see here is strategy. It is inviting you, my content is inviting people to think strategically, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to take everything I say. The swords here do represent thinking, the mind function, so thoughts, thinking. Doesn't mean you have to take everything I say literally, but I would say that take what you can, take what you feel like resonates with you, and start using them to be a little bit more strategic in your life. A lot of the times I do find that we tend to follow the rules a little bit too much, especially that I am specifically designing my content to speak to Chinese Canadians. Of course, I realize that quite a lot of my audience actually are not Chinese Canadians, so I really, really appreciate you for liking what I do, liking the way that I present things. You're definitely more than invited to join me on this journey, even if you're not a Chinese Canadian. But given that I initially designed a content for Chinese Canadians, I do feel like this card is trying to tell you that the content that I'm presenting is giving you a different way of looking at things. It is inviting you to take them in order to be more strategic, and in being more strategic, you're actually kind of you're kind of obligated to think more for yourself, right? A lot of the times Chinese Canadians are kind of like the people who follow authority a little bit too much. I definitely understand you. I come from China, so I understand what it means to have to follow authority. But here we are at a point where you're not fully comfortable revealing the way you think to your family, to the rest of the world yet. Because 7 in Tarot, the card 7 tends to be a card that's marked by some sort of a tension, I would say. And here it means that there is the tension of you wanting to kind of adopt a new way of thinking, but you're not ready to reveal the way that you think to the world yet. You're still forming like your own way of looking at things. Maybe that's the purpose of my content, like helping you to have a different perspective so that you can be more strategic, so that you can think for yourself, even if right now you're kind of doing it in hiding, you're kind of doing it out of sight, but it's a beginning. It is kind of like an initiation. Yeah, the word initiation works well because that's what the Fool represents, a new beginning. I hope I didn't confuse you. I don't know. I'm kind of just ranting on based on what I'm feeling from the card. And again, I guess that's function of intuition, is that it's not linear. It is a circular kind of intelligence. It comes and goes in waves. And I'm just presenting to you exactly how I am perceiving the whole thing. Now, moving up to the next 2 cards. What is the purpose of using tarot to accompany my content? Again, I just want to show you the cards that I got. The first card I got was the 10 of Swords. Show you what it looks like upright. It looks kind of scary, right? Lots of like swords stabbing this person who is dead on the ground. But this one appeared reversed. The second card I got was the 4 of Pentacles, and upright it looks like this, a person holding on to gold coins and 2 coins under his feet, and there is like a cityscape behind him, and this card also appeared reversed. I am still learning, by the way, guys. I don't have this whole thing figured out yet. Especially when it comes to reversed cards, I find them a little bit harder to interpret. I do understand that when a card is reversed though, usually it means the message has a greater importance. It is trying to almost like capture your attention, because reverse cards can mean many things. It can mean that the energy that's being conveyed, or the message, whatever that's being conveyed by the card, it is kind of like a unrealized potential, unrealized energy, or something like a stuck feeling of being stuck energy, or simply the reversal of the original meaning of the card when it's upright. So there are many different ways to interpret a reverse card, which makes it more complicated for me as someone who is not yet very experienced with tarot reading, but I'm gonna try my best, all right? Based on what I feel about the whole situation, based on the question that I've asked, which is what is the purpose of using tarot cards to accompany my content? Without further ado, let's try these. 10 of Swords, 10 of Swords. When you look at the image, I'm just going to show it upright first. When you look at the image, it looks very scary. But notice how, yes, the person on the ground is dead. Yes, there are a lot of swords, 10 of them to be precise. But notice how in the back, actually the clouds are lifting. The sun is coming out. In a way, this is a card of resolution. It's a resolution of conflict, of tension, of an old way of being. The way I interpret the 10 of Swords when it's upright is that actually an old identity has died. An old way of being has died. So the numbers also count in tarot reading, because in terms of all the symbols, right? We're talking about all the symbols that are being presented by the card, including the number 1 and 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. The number 10 usually does have some sort of relationship with the card number 1. 1 is the beginning. 1 is the beginning. So in a way, 10 is the completion, right? 1 to 10, the completion of something and the beginning of something new. I'm going to actually interpret it this way. Reversal as an internalization of energy. So my personal intention is using tarot to almost like really move myself and move my content away from the traditional way of thinking, the traditional linear logical kind of thinking. I'm trying to present Chinese wisdom, Chinese culture in a way that really crosses the boundary between the East, the West, the logic and the emotions, or logic and intuition. So this is like almost like my internalized wish that I'm trying to kill off. That I'm trying to really get rid of the old mentality of we have to be writing based up completely on, research, citations, references, logical linear understanding and logical linear analysis. I'm really trying to move away from that and trying to bringing in something new into the way of thinking about philosophy, thinking about Chinese culture, and also thinking about thinking. Interesting. And the Four of Pentacles over here. Four of Pentacles, stop holding on. You see here, holding on to the coins very tightly. Reversal, stop holding on so tightly on traditions as they have always been. Stop trying to hold on to ideologies that are no longer serving you. The coins, from my own understanding, they do represent wealth, they represent abundance, they also represent traditions, physical realities, and I would say things that are in the physical realm. I also see them as traditions for some reason, because tradition is part of our generational wealth, right? Values. Coins definitely represent values. They are just a symbol for value. Stop holding on so tightly to the values that no longer serve you. And in my own life, I have definitely always valued analysis, right? Being precise, especially in my own work. When I do go to my job, I like to be very precise. I like to be very rigorous. But sometimes when you hold on too tight to something, you're actually limiting yourself. Perhaps you don't see the entire kingdom that is waiting for you, that's right behind you. I feel like that's what the landscape behind can also mean. It means a new world, a new kingdom. This person has his back to that kingdom. And notice how he's also wearing black. So one of the symbolism of the color black when it appears in tarot cards is ignorance, is a veil when someone is unable to see reality as it actually is. So the person is wearing black, but he's also wearing red and blue underneath. Blue color usually means intuition. It means you're kind of like that invisible intelligence of the subconscious. The red usually represents action and desire. So it's really interesting how he's wearing black on top of the desire and the subconscious intuition function. Yeah, so there is definitely a kind of unconsciousness going on here because we're holding on so tightly to something. And I feel like when the card is reversed, it's telling you to do the opposite. It's trying to say that by introducing tarot, I'm actually entirely overthrowing my own old paradigm of, I have to make my videos and my content super duper fact-based. They have to be based on some sort of a rigorous research, and I have to follow the meaning of the expressions I'm trying to introduce in a very literal and a traditional way based on what I read in dictionaries, or what I read online, what I read from books, and actually trying to introduce a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at things internally first. Because again, when a card is reversed, you can say that it can be a reversal of the meaning, but here what I'm feeling is this is actually an internalized energy in myself first before I can bring it out on a larger scale into even my YouTube videos. I don't know, who knows? Right now I'm just experimenting a little bit, definitely experimenting quite a bit with the whole thing. I feel like I just like experimenting, You have to experiment or else you never know. So there you go, a small showcase of how I use my intuition very, very visually to you. That's what I like about the cards, because I am a very visual person to begin with. If this is something that's interesting, you find it interesting, I don't know if you get what I was trying to say to you, but leave me a comment if you want to see more of these kind of videos. I'm going to actually be showing you my 7-card spread that I made to summarize my last 7 articles. You can read my articles, of course, on my website, ChineseInsideOut.com. Click into my website. I have a page that has all of my previous archived newsletter articles, and that will probably make more sense to you when I present to you the 7-card read to summarize each and every one of the past 7 articles. I feel like it's going to be very, very fun, interesting. But for now, I'm actually going to do some shopping. Hopefully it was entertaining. Bye for now.